Welcome. We are here at the wonderful Angus Barn today in Raleigh, and I'm here with Van Ura. Hey, Van.
How are you doing? Thank you.
Great. So nice to be with you today.
We're honored to have you all here.
Such a wonderful place, but I want to know, in going throughout this place today, and I eat here frequently, but there's just so much I haven't seen. And going through this place, I've been wondering in my mind, Van, how did all this begin? And I know it's a long story,
I'll
but
just
tell us,
I'll just sum it up quickly. This was a crazy start because two guys, my father, Thad Ewer Jr. and Charles Winston, ran into each other. They each had 3 children and didn't have a job. One was home from the service and one had just finished something else. And said, oh, what are we going to do? We have 3 kids. Oh, Raleigh needs a steakhouse. Well, let's just do a steakhouse. I mean, it was just like that. And so when my father told my mother that's what they were going to do, she cried for 3 days. She said, you don't know anything about running a restaurant. I can't believe you're going to do this. So then they wanted to find some land that was real inexpensive. Right. Believe it or not, this area out here at that time, the Highway 70 was a tiny little country road. Yeah. And the airport was a single engine landing strip. Right. So the land that was right here was just very, very inexpensive. And my grandfather saw the sign on a tree and took the sign down and took it to them and said, I found you some really inexpensive land. Then no bank would loan them the money to build the restaurant because they said a restaurant that far out in the country would never work. So my grandfather went and put his house up for collateral. Oh, wow. to loan him the money. And then they built the restaurant. They decided to build it like a barn because they were going to call it the Angus Barn, so it was a steakhouse. The architect drew it. They said, no, that's not really what we want. So he drew it again. They said no. So they put him in the car and took him an hour out of town to Charles Winston's uncle's farm. And they walked him inside this huge barn. And they said, this is what we want it to look like. Wow. I mean, a real barn. So that's the start.
That's the start. And here we are today, and we're going to show you this wonderful place inside and out. First of all, Van, it's so important. Your employees are one of the most important things you have here.
Yes. They're the most important asset.
How many people do you employ?
Altogether, we have 300. Because, well, that includes all of the on-call. Okay. We have a lot of on-call that have other jobs, but love to come in and work events.
Right. Well, how nice. And how nice for them to be able to do that.
Yeah, they have fun.
And I have to talk about your staff, and I'm going to let you talk to your staff too, to the fact that they are very dedicated, I can tell, to the Angus Barn and to you. Jill, we met today first, and I cannot tell you how fabulous she is and how attentive she has been to our needs of having a wonderful lunch here today. Jill is just fabulous. And what is her position here?
Well, Jill has been here for 30 years. And she is the office manager, and she's my manager.
Wow.
So
okay. He's one of those, let me tell you.
So, I mean, I really don't like the word assistant for her because she's much more than that. Right. And she says she's my mom. Okay. But
you told me that a while ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she's just phenomenal.
I want to talk about, now, Van, in going through the property, how many kitchens do you have here?
We have 4.
Four kitchens.
4 kitchens, and then the pavilion is sort of an auxiliary kitchen where we prep everything up here, right, and then bring it down the hill to the pavilion, and then cook it off down there for the weddings and special events.
And you have how many dining rooms?
3 dining rooms. Well, no, counting the lounge, 4. Because counting the 2 wine cellars, 6.
Wine cellars. We have to talk about the wine cellar now.
Yeah.
Went in the wine cellar, and as I said, I've been here many times, but I've never been in the wine cellar. Explain, when you walk in the wine cellar, explain the first room.
That room is called Alice's room. We named that after my mother. Okay. When we won the Wine Spectator Grand Award in 1989, all we had was a basement where we kept our wines. Right. And you would literally go downstairs to the basement on these really crickety, awful stairs and carry the wine back up that you needed. Okay. So, but we won an award because of our wine list and our training program, and you know, so everyone from all over the world would say, oh, we need to come see this award-winning cellar. And my mother and I were like, oh my goodness, we need to make it into a nice cellar. So we started with the plans, but you had to go through the kitchen, and at that time, going through the kitchen was not the popular thing to do.
Right.
So everybody said, that will not work. You can't go through the kitchen. No, we're going to go through the kitchen because what do we have to hide? And we want our kitchen staff to be on stage too.
And I'm impressed with that because apparently people go back, you're allowed to go back and forth through the kitchen, and I'm so impressed with that. And as you said, you have nothing to hide.
Well, here, my theory is, we even have a table in the kitchen now. My theory is how to keep the employees always acting right and always on their best and never getting frustrated and never using foul language or anything like that.
Right.
Put customers everywhere.
What a philosophy. Absolutely. A lot of people can learn from that. Yeah.
So anyway, so the wine cellar, we started off just doing a cellar, and then in the middle of construction, my mother and I, you know how women do during construction, and they change their mind. So my mother and I decided we want a dining room down here, and they said, you want what? We said, no, we're going to put, now we want a dining room down here. So then and now we named it Alice's room. We named it after my mom because now we have another one named Thad's room, but at first that was the only room, and she decorated that room.
How do you get to dine in that room, in Allison's room?
Well, you just call and make reservations for that room, and then a person who just does that job will book the party for you because it's a set menu and it's set wines. It's 5 courses and 5 wines, and then we announce why we've chosen each wine to go with each course. And the host of the party does have a lot to do with what we choose. They help us pick. Wine can be a very intimidating, stuffy topic, and our goal is to make it a very comfortable, although you're in an elegant setting, that you feel very comfortable, even if you don't know the first thing about wine. But the food down there is, I must say, is really good.
I can imagine. And then next to that, you go into Thad's room.
Yes, that's 7 years. We've had that. We did an extra room. That was a storage room, and we made that into another dining room. That's larger and more masculine. We put a lot of my dad's things in there from another restaurant that he had that were left over. So we put the wrought iron gates and the stained glass and the things that were his in there.
And then you go one more time into the kitchen.
Oh yes, but now that we have 2 dining rooms, we realize, oh my goodness, now we can't be carrying the food all the way from the upstairs kitchen through the cold wine cellar to get to the second room. So now we have to do a kitchen. One thing leads to the next. So the kitchen prepares the food for both of those rooms because it's a different type of menu than what we serve up here.
But there's a private table in there where you can watch your food being prepared, and that's just incredible to me.
Well, that's called the captain's table. The one in the main kitchen upstairs is called the chef's table.
Right.
But the one downstairs is called the captain's table. And so upstairs you're seeing I call it organized chaos in the main kitchen.
Right.
And then downstairs you're seeing the fine dining experience that they're preparing down there.
Right. Well, as I have told you, Van, my personal favorite, and I love the dining rooms. I've eaten in the dining rooms, but I love the turkey table. The turkey lounge and the turkey table. The turkey table is mine. When I come, I ask, is the turkey table available? Because we can, it's kind of a private, you have your own little relish bar. Of course, it's shared with the bar area over there, but you're just, and you can be loud.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, you've made my day, because that table used to be where we kept all of the relishes and cheese and crackers for everyone that was in the lounge. But believe it or not, that table used to be my grandfather, Thad Sr.'s.
Really?
He was the Secretary of State. That used to be his dining room table. And we would go there on Sundays and all sit around that table. It's a big just old-timey table.
Wow.
And we would all sit around that table and have our Sunday lunches with our grandparents. So I said, why are we wasting this table?
Oh, yes.
So we moved the crackers and cheese and relishes over to another area and called it the turkey table, because there's a huge turkey that someone gave us above it.
It is.
And it really has become a really popular area, because, although you're kind of in a hallway. You've got the relish bar. You've got the treasure chest if you have kids. You can really see everybody coming and going, and you can be as loud and crazy as you want. And I can't imagine that you are that way.
No, I'm really not that loud, but we do like to have fun. We do.
Well,
like to have
I'm
fun.
glad. Oh, good.
When we come to the Angus Farm, believe me, we have fun. About some of the things on the menu.
Okay.
Chicken pesto is one of my favorites.
Chef Jimmy, who's our wine cellar chef,
okay,
that cooks all of those special meals. He's an amazing chef. That is his recipe.
Wow.
So I said, I want a chicken dish that is not like the normal chicken dish that everyone. And so Jimmy came up with that, and it is truly, I have to say, it's one of my favorite things on the menu.
My husband eats the prime rib every time he comes. Wonderful. He says there's no prime rib like the Angus barn. If we're traveling somewhere, if we're in Cape Cod, I don't care where we are, he says, no, I'm going back home to the Angus barn to get my prime rib.
Well, look, if he ever finds a prime rib that he thinks is better, he needs to tell us so we can go to that restaurant and check it out.
Well, I doubt he will. But anyway, if he does, I'll let you know.
But let me say something concerning the chicken.
Okay.
If you ever want any kind of a new recipe or just to do something different, all you have to do is tell the server, tell Chef Jimmy to make me a new chicken dish.
Really?
That we can do anything like that someone wants. Our goal really with our food is to get the best product that is available no matter what we have to do to get it.
It's wonderful. The menu here is wonderful. You just have to come. Let's get to the, and we've talked about the wine cellar, but I want to talk a little bit about your wines.
Okay.
Let's talk about the wines a little bit. Now, I want you to tell me, because I'm going to have some of this at dinner tonight, but I don't know what I'm asking.
Okay.
There is a Riesling that you have that is a Van Kesselstadt. Van Kesselstadt.
It's a Gewürztraminer. That's a kind of Riesling is a kind of grape, and this is a wine that is from Germany, and it is a little bit sweet. It is actually wonderful. You have very good taste.
It's sweet. It's
and you know what? It's really good with chicken. So that's a good combination.
Yeah, because I was eating chicken pesto.
Right.
So anyway, the wines here are incredible. And I can't imagine anything you wouldn't have.
And you know, for people that don't know a lot about wine, our by the glass list really describes each wine and what it goes with. And then if you still feel uncomfortable and you don't know what to order, you can ask for one of our wine sommeliers. We have 19 of them here. They've all taken
19.
I'm so proud of them. They have taken a course. It is a very difficult, like beyond college level course that takes 3 days to take the test, and they prepared for this course here at the Angus Barn with Hank Shoemaker, our sommelier who runs that department, and they prepared for it and they took the test, and we have 19 certificates on the wall that are all people that are still here. So our philosophy is that anybody that wants help with wine or selection, any of them can come over to your table and just help you, and they will never talk above your head. You know, they will. I mean, if someone tells us they love their wine, you know, hot, we're gonna fix it for them the way they want it. The customer is they may not always be right, but they are always the paying customer.
Right. They're always accommodated
they're
at
always
the Angus.
The paying customer.
Right.
You know, we used to say the customer's always right, but then, you know, we did have a guy one time that said, this is not a ribeye. And it, you know, it really was a ribeye. He said, this is not a ribeye. So we took it back. We gave him another ribeye, but it was a ribeye. But so therefore I said, well, the customer's not always right, but they are always the customer. And therefore, whatever they want is fine. And they're you don't make them wrong. You never want to make someone wrong in front of any of their guests.
Absolutely.
You just say, oh, with the ribeye, oh, sir, we're so sorry. Let us get you one.
Right. Incredible.
So.
Now, I want to talk about your birthday. If you have a birthday, come here. You will have an experience. You'll have an experience. You can have balloons, is that right?
Yes.
On your chair.
Yes.
And a pound cake. I cannot tell you. We're getting Andrew a pound cake today. It's his birthday this weekend, so I told Jill I want to get a pound cake.
Oh, I saw that pound cake sitting out there. So, it was a special one.
Andrew.
I saw it was a little special one too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're homemade.
Andrew must be special.
He is special. And they're homemade right here.
They're homemade.
And they're you just have to taste them. They're wonderful.
You know the original pound cake recipe with a pound of butter, a pound of sugar, a pound of flour.
Exactly.
That is what we stick to. We stick to the
Really?
original pound cake recipe.
It tastes like grandma's.
It does.
It really does. And it's about this big, and and it's complimentary.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful thing that you do.
Now let me tell you what you do with that.
Okay.
Most people don't know this.
Okay.
After you take the rest of the cake home, and you can let Andrew know.
Okay.
After you take the rest of the cake home, you slice it in the morning and put it in the egg and fry it for French toast.
Wow, that would be so good.
It is so good. My children have it every Christmas day. We have the Angus barn pound cake French toast and eggs, and with the saltiness of the eggs and then the sweetness of the pound cake that's been crispy from the pan. It's so good.
Wow. I can taste it now. Oh, wow. That is a great idea. Great idea.
Before we close, can I just tell you a little story about two special people in Rocky Mount? The Words were Steve and Jerry. They were our very first meat suppliers. They came to the Angus barn in the 60s, and they were just starting out in the food business. And they talked to my dad, and he said, I will give you a chance as long as you prove to me that you can supply us with the right amount that we need, and that you will never be late, and that you will always have the deliveries that we need. You'll have the amount that we need. And they did that.
Oh, I can believe that.
They did that to an extreme. And they were able to go and say, this is the story that they tell. They were able to go and say to other restaurants and other places, we supply the Angus barn their meat, so you can use Angus barn as a reference for us. And I don't know if you know how funny they are.
Oh,
they are funny.
They are funny.
I mean, they've got great senses of humor.
Yes.
I'm sure sometimes they try to keep that covered up, but they are really, really great.
They're really great people. They really, really are. Now, in closing, I want to talk about the room we're in.
Oh, yes. This is called the meat locker because you're sitting inside a room that used to be a refrigerator that held meat. So when the North Carolina changed the smoking law, the smokers were having a heart attack. Oh, not literally. But what are we going to do? We need a place to have our cigars and cigarettes. So at that time, this refrigerator was being removed because it was old and needed to be replaced. So here sat this space, and it really met the criteria because the law states that if you provide a place for smoking, it has to be like a porch.
Right.
It can't be connected to the ventilation, and it can't be near the entrance of the restaurant.
And this isn't.
This meets all of those things because we've made it into a porch. So we do call it the meat locker because that's what it was. And you come in through the big meat refrigerator door, and this room's kind of the funky room. It's just fun.
It is fun.
It is the most popular, room. One of the most popular rooms in the restaurant.
I can imagine. Oh, absolutely.
People just love this room.
You can see the highway. The view is wonderful. It's got windows all the way around, and
we have a fire pit outside that's all night long is burning. You can wrap up in blankets and sit by the fire pit and have your glass of wine and your cigar, or you can eat full menu in here. But a lot of people come in here that don't even smoke just because they love this room.
Wow.
But the fun thing is, I tell everybody now, I know the view is the highway, but the good thing about that is you are sitting there drinking your drink, and all of those people are busy going to and from work.
Right.
So you can just feel so good sitting there with with your feet up, you know. And listen, this room is a room where people do put their feet up on the tables, on the chairs, wherever
Absolutely.
This is the room where what we say, what happens in the meat locker stays in the meat locker.
Oh, I can understand. Wonderful. And now you've just opened this.
Yes. Well, the smoking law changed a couple of years ago, so
Okay.
it was then we opened it, and we have an old church pew outside. So in case you need to pray before you leave the room, you can.
Wow. Oh,
That's just yeah. Oh, and one more thing about this room one more thing about this room you're gonna love. Because the room got so popular, we had to put a bathroom here. So our bathroom is an outhouse. It is, but it's not. It's a beautiful outhouse. I mean, it's it's an indoor outhouse, and it has a TV in there. But it looks like you're going into an old outhouse. But when you walk in, there's a TV, and some men say, "Oh, can I just have my dinner in here?"
I can imagine. And the restrooms are absolutely wonderful. They've got lotion and hairspray, ladies, and just so accommodating in the restrooms here. They're just great. Now the pavilion, we keep adding more because there's so much to this. The Angus barn accommodates everyone. I mean, everyone. You've thought of everything. There's nothing you haven't thought of, Van.
There's a few things.
I don't know. I can't think of them. Don't even tell me what they are because there's so much. But the pavilion out back. Now I want to talk about that just a little bit. Tell us about that.
That was built from all reclaimed materials. That we had warehouses down in that area where my father stored all kinds of the old antiques and everything he was collecting. And so we took apart all the warehouses. We found that the trusses that held them up were from the Civil War. And so we realized that we could use every bit of that. It was heart pine, it was the Civil War trusses, it was old stones from the original streets of Raleigh.
Wow.
And we used all of those materials to build the pavilion. So it has become, well, it started off just being a picnic facility.
Okay.
Very quickly we realized, oh my goodness, people want to have weddings down here and really fancy functions.
I can see where you would need that.
And so then it kind of it turned into that. We used to have roll down sides that just was like, you know, a picnic where you roll down the sides.
Right.
Well, we had an event there one time and a bad rainstorm came through and the rain was pouring through the sides and we were on the outside in the rain holding the sides down till the speaker got finished, and so with that we decided, okay, we need like sliding doors.
Right.
So then we put in our sliding doors, so now it can be closed in. You know, you realize it's kind of like a work in progress. You realize you build it and then you say, oh, we should have done this, and so then you go back and fix it. And
how many people does it accommodate?
Tonight, there's a group of 500 dining.
For real?
Yes, it's a fundraiser. It's 500 people.
Gosh.
And we're going to serve them dinner.
Wow.
And we cook everything down there, you know, it'll be prepped up here, but we'll cook the steaks, grill the steaks down there and serve. We have a method of serving where we can really get that many people served, you know, pretty quickly. Because you want the food hot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's amazing. It's just amazing. Now, how many employees will you have here on a Friday and Saturday night?
150.
Whew,
on a really busy night where the pavilion's in full swing, and then the restaurant's in full swing, you'll have 150. Now, then on a regular night, you could have 80. So yeah, it just kind of depends.
We came on a Sunday night. I told my husband, I said, let's don't go Friday and Saturday this time. Let's go on Sunday night because we didn't make reservations and we just decided, spur of the moment, we were going to come on Sunday night. I said, you know, it'll be less busy. Not less busy.
Well, see, now the neat thing for you is
just unreal.
Now you're going to have your picture right over the turkey table where you sit.
I'm going to come
so
more
now
often
you're
so
going
I can look at my
Well,
pictures.
yeah, you can just kind of say when you come and they're real busy, you can say, well, I'm on the wall of fame, and so, you know, maybe you could work me in. You know.
But seriously, Van, the volume that you do here is amazing.
It's pretty
and the
much.
customer service still stays to that wonderful level.
Well, that's because every little area they kind of pretend like that's their own little restaurant.
Right.
So, every area is just functioning, on its own, to the standards, hopefully, that we try to meet.
I want to thank you so much for letting us come
You're
today.
welcome.
It's just been so much fun.
You're
the Angus Barn, Raleigh, you've got to come. I just have to tell you, you must come. Bring a crowd. It's so much fun. Make your reservations. Although if you're passing through Raleigh and you want to stop, you can still stop. Van will make room for you. Always make room for you. And don't forget, get your apple on the way out. Your fresh apple on the way out. Okay. Van, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.